Did you really think that every number gets a cute little blocky debut? Think again. Some numbers were born controversial, some were loaded with potential and then nerfed. And some, sorry decimals, might be a little bit too weird for the target age. Today, we're digging into 3 cancelled corners of Numberland: 42, 911 and decimals. Sorry for blocking you off there, Lucky. Plus a surprise guest star from Grown Up Math, Euler's number E. This is why these numbers should be awesome, but also why we probably won't see them. Or why the version we did get feels mid. No offense, 42. Let's do math. 42, the one that promised the universe. On paper, 42 should have been legendary. He's 6 times 7, a walking festival of factors, and even pronic. Yes, he's the product of 2 consecutive numbers. The real reason that adults perk up at 42, however, is a pop culture in-joke. Specifically, it's from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. In the story, a supercomputer called Deep Thought spends 7.5 million years answering the biggest question ever. What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? And finally says...
42.
That absurd punchline turned 42 into a worldwide wink. The whole joke is that the answer is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Perhaps because the question itself is just too complex. The main human character, Arthur Dent, is basically a confused guy in a bathrobe who clings to his towel and a cup of tea while space gets weird. Now, let's look at our first glimpse of 42 in the Numberblocks episode, More to Explore. He has no eyebrows, a maroon robe with checker squares where his blocks would be, dark blue shorts, a towel, and, of course, a cup of tea. Hit subscribe for more Numberblocks lore. Thank you. Back to the video. That's not random. That's a full Arthur Dent cosplay in Numberblocks form. It's to show tipping its hat to the parents who know. The parents are going, ha, I see you, while for kids, it's just a new number. This feature absolutely teased chaos. It set expectations sky high for what 42 actually might be like. Then reality hit. When 42 is finally figured out, he swaps mystery sci-fi for sensible uncle energy. He's calm, he's kind. He's the one who says don't panic while his teleportation belt hiccups.
Well, what I always say is, don't panic.
He thanks 48 for rescuing the 6-7s, perfect manners, and later in the Rainbow Makers, he tells 63,
As I was saying, don't panic, just be yourself.
It's wholesome, genuinely. It's classroom safe. But it's not the cosmic gremlin many of us expected from that tea and towel trailer. Personality-wise, once he's figured out, he's a steady problem solver with older brother calm. Yet, he does have a playful side, which we see in the episode Rescue Racers. In Rescue Racers, 42 finally cuts loose, and it's glorious chaos. One moment he's gamely explaining that he's always in 6s and 7s, the next he's vanishing mid-conversation, sometimes reappearing in snowdrifts, sometimes clutching a rubber duck fresh from his bath.
I teleported into my bath on the way here. Now, how about that rematch?
He even signs off with a cheeky toodaloo from 42, like a space tourist who can't quite steer.
There's more than one way to get to Puzzle Square. Toodaloo from 42!
It's silly in exactly the way that Arthur Dent fans hoped. A mix of politeness, mild confusion, and cosmic timing. For one episode at least, 42 stops being the steady problem solver. He becomes instead the towel-waving hitchhiker the fandom always imagined. Sadly, the original voice actor, David Carling, has passed away, so 42 now has a new voice. If he pops back up, a soft vibe shift wouldn't be shocking. Overall, 42 is a great number. Good heart. But still, the final flavour is gentle mentor, not galactic wink. Smash that like button if you wish they would change 42 into its original version. I know I would. 911, the number that teaches beautifully. On paper, 911 is a tidy little maths lesson. It's prime, no arrays, no factor pairs beyond 1 and itself. You could even build a mini history tour out of this number. The year 9/11 in Europe and Birth of Normandy. The year 1911 with art heists and polar explorers. Cross-curricular candy, teachers would eat that up. But then you remember the real world and every brand safety alarm on Earth starts blaring. In the United States, 911 isn't just a number, it's the emergency services code. And for many viewers, it also evokes September 11th. Now, ask yourself, How does a preschool show handle that responsibility? If you mention the attacks, you've introduced traumatic content to tiny children. If you don't mention them, you risk looking glib, like you turned a world-changing tragedy into a cute character and then whistled past it. And that's before we get to unintended behaviour. Imagine a 4-year-old watches Numberblock 911 Save the Day and then dials 911 at home to play rescue. We can slap a "don't try this" line on screen, but it still plants the idea. Broadcasters panic over far smaller compliance risks than preschoolers prank calling emergency lines. Now think of the memes. The internet will do what it does: screenshots, edits, punchlines. Within 5 minutes, there'll probably be a viral clip turning a solemn number into a joke. Exactly what you don't want attached to a gentle education brand. And you can't control that downstream use once the character exists. And then there's the character tone trap. Do you make 911 a positive hero, the friendly rescuer? In the US, 911 routes to police, fire and emergency medical services, but policing is politically polarised, and suddenly your preschool number is a lightning rod for adult arguments. Make 911 a neutral explainer and you'll still be accused of sidestepping the issue. Make 911 negative, obviously not happening for a kids show, and you'd alienate first responders and families. One more headache: global confusion. Because remember, Numberblocks is a British show. In the UK, kids learn 999, and indeed in many other countries, they actually use 112. So even if you cleared the US sensitivity minefield, you'd still be teaching the wrong emergency number to your home audience. That's more than just awkward, that's arguably unsafe. It's another reason for the writers to never touch this number ever. They can just say it's not our emergency code, therefore it's out of our remit. Done and dusted. Best avoided, and the writers know it. Decimals, the phantom fraction. Decimals, they're catnip for fan theories, but a minefield for character designers. Think about it. Decimals demand a whole new visual language. What does Numberblock 0.5 look like without literally slicing a number block in half? Cute on paper, chaos on screen. And here's the bigger mismatch. Numberblocks is built for early number sense, not upper primary place value. In the UK, you first start seeing decimal notation for money around year 4, when kids are 9 years old. You only do proper tenths and hundredths work in year 5, when the children are 10. By the time kids are ready for decimal place value, they're past CBeebies core age band. Why does that matter on screen? Well, because decimals are precision heavy. Suddenly, the child has to track how many ones and how many tenths. They have to read a dot that isn't a number but changes the value. And they got to compare things like 1.5 and 1.05 without tripping over the zeros. You may well have a conceptual pile-up no 5-minute musical could safely untangle for a preschooler. And the design problem really is horrible. If you make a big point character, toddlers have to reliably read 3.1 versus 31, for example, at a glance. Every solution invites a brand new misunderstanding. I don't see any easy way to design the characters without having the number blocks themselves cut into pieces. Until someone cracks a kid-proof visual grammar for tenths and hundredths, decimals stay the phantom fraction. Always rumoured, never quite seen. Bonus block. Euler's number E. Now, this one is obviously too spicy for current number blocks. But if they ever make a show for older kids, E should stroll in with a calm smile and a little growth dial. So what is Euler's number? It's about 2.71828, and the decimals never repeat. Think of E as the natural growth number, the answer you get when something grows by the same percentage and it updates not once a day or once a minute, but continuously in very invisible ticks. So where does E show up in real life? Simply put, anytime growth feeds on itself. Bacteria, growth, even view counts, E is there humming in the background. Ultimately, E is your gateway into logs, exponentials, and all that big kid stuff. Let's be honest, it's way too much for the Numberblocks audience who can't even handle decimals. You'll never see these number blocks. So that's the tour of the number blocks you were never meant to see. At least, not like you imagined. 42 had the cosmic tease, but landed as the polite teleporter. 911 could power great lessons, but the real world baggage is a brick wall. Decimals, they're everyone's favourite what if, yet we're still waiting for a design that doesn't terrify tiny viewers. And as for Euler's number, E, yes, it's too advanced for now, but it's perfect for a future where Numberblocks grows up a little. If you were showrunner for a day, how would you handle these characters? Would you get 42 looking like its original form? Would you green light decimals? Let me know in that comment section below. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I'm Snipe Snap, he's my cat Lucky, we'll see you soon. Snipe, Snap, out.